What's up and what's going on, fellow fanatics? We're trying something new here called Super Thanks. We've got a ton of people that watch these clipped videos that aren't always available to watch during the live stream that leave comments or questions down below. Here's why this is cool. With Super Thanks, you can now drop your comment or question anytime during the video. In the following live stream, I will go over all the Super Thanks from the day before. It's a cool way for people that aren't able to watch live to still be able to have your voice heard or questions answered to be a part of the Q&A. And it's also a great way to support the channel. As always, we appreciate all your continued love and support, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Okay, who here hasn't been to space? You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
This is what Coogler had to say. So Coogler had to say this in his message to the fans. Gratitude, that is the only word that comes to mind for your support of our work on this film, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I am filled with it. Thank you to the people who bought their tickets early and camped out opening weekend. Thank you to those of you who took their families out, young ones and elders in tow, to those who organize youth screenings and after parties, who bought out theaters for communities and friends, to all of you who watched multiple times and encouraged other folks to check it out. Our film is over 2.5 hours long, so thank you for holding those bathroom breaks. Our film has 6 languages spoken in it. Thank you for bearing with the subtitles, and our film deals with the inescapable human emotion of grief. Thank you for opening yourself up to the emotional journey of this film. We made something to honor our friend who was a giant in our industry and who also made something to be enjoyed in a theatrical setting with friends, family, and strangers. Something to be quoted and discussed, to be debated, something to make people both physically and emotionally feel seen. This medium wouldn't exist without an audience, and I thank you for giving me professional purpose and an emotional outlet. I look forward to bringing you more Lord Jesus, in the future. More stories in the future. Sincerely, and this is where it gets real good, Ryan Coogler. He went on to say some other things there, whatever that is about Talakan, Wakanda Forever, Chadwick Forever. And then he ended it with Long Live T'Challa. The first thing I'll say.
Didn't you kill T'Challa?
Yeah.
Say, but is he dead?
The first thing I'll touch on here is where I want to kind of break. We'll go through this and break this down really quick. He said, it really gets into the juice of the second paragraph where he said, and our film deals with the inescapable human emotion of grief.
You know, I've seen the comparisons of grief being used when it comes to WandaVision, when it comes to No Way, when it comes to Phase 4. Let brainwashed individuals tell you Phase 4 is built upon grief. And as I've said in previous videos, and I will say again, you will not insult my intelligence by making me feel or believe that the grief that I felt in WandaVision, the grief that I felt, and if you want to call that grief, the grief that I felt in No Way Home, or the grief that I felt in Black Widow, because I've seen that being used as an example as well.
Gosh, we're on the last topic.
That's not grief.
That's sadness, but that's not grief.
That's not only that, it's not the same grief. That's what I meant. It's not the same grief as the grief you forcefully shoved into my face for viewers' entertainment in Wakanda Forever. It's not the same. And fuck you for trying to make me feel or think that it is the same. So for him to come out and say, let me make sure I have that right, in our film dealing with the inescapable human emotion of grief. Grief is an escapable human emotion. It's inescapable. We are all going to deal with grief. Hell, you all saw, everybody that was here, you sat and watched me, something I hated doing. But you sat and watched me shed tears on a live stream. Not for Wakanda Forever. Not for, yes, somewhat for T'Challa, because you're laying to rest a character I love. Yes, for Chadwick, because I wasn't there, as I've said before, I wasn't at the man's death the first time, or when he passed. I was not there, but when you put his passing in the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the film, I was there. So Yeah, I get that. I wasn't crying for that. I was crying because in my own personal real life,
Right.
I am dealing with grief.
Yeah.
I have dealt with grief, and
It's not.
it's an inescapable human emotion. But I'll tell you where it is escapable. When I sit down in a fantasy film. When I sit down in a fantasy film, it's escapable. Grief, whatever I'm thinking about outside of the movie theater is unimportant. Because the minute I sit down in that theater, what I'm consuming is the only thing that is important. That is my time, when I step through the doors of Warren, to leave anything real life behind me. Because I understand, as an intelligent, functioning human being, that I'm about to step into a fantasy film where I understand the world I'm viewing is fake. I understand that when I sit down and watch a Black Panther film, there's no place called Wakanda.
Right.
I know that there's no uncolonized nation in Africa. I know there's no such metal called vibranium. I know that there's not a man, like Sam Wilson said, so you like cats. There's not a man running around in a cat costume with the powers of the Black Panther bestowed to him by Bast. I understand that. But when I sit down in the theater, that's all I want to see.
Right.
It ain't the death and grief that you say is so inescapable.
Right, and it's this also, I mean, he's conflating his own personal experience with what I had to watch on a screen, because here's the deal. There are plenty of movies out there where people die in it, right?
Right.
But that's not the whole movie. That's not the whole point of the entire fucking movie. That is the difference. Is our movie deals with grief. No, your movie is your grief thrown up on screen. Because, I mean, fuck, I know it's a fantasy character, but this is supposed to be a fantasy character, but fuck, when Snape died in Harry Potter, right? Was that whole movie Long Live Snape?
No.
Was the next fucking movie Long Live Snape? No, because a character died to move on the story, and it was a sad, you go, no, not my friend, and then it moves the fuck on.
Right.
People find resolve, they learn
face.
how to go, become stronger and push on. Occasionally that character will be referenced, maybe when the hero's completed his journey and he turns back, he sees the ghost and it fades, or whatever, that like, I made it here, right? But you don't make the whole fucking movie just everyone's like, and then to take it one step further, to go out of fantasy and into pluck a real person died. You're going to go to his funeral. You're going to go to his mom's funeral. Then
we're going to talk about Riri's dad being dead.
We're going to show pictures of your whole movie was you feeling like what does he say? What does he say? Hold on. I know y'all got a lot to say too. I just want to go to what did he say here? Okay. Right here. He says we made something to honor our friend. So what you didn't make was a continuation of the franchise we were watching. You fucking scrapped it, and for the last time, had a grief experiment that you paid me to go watch. That is what this comes down to. I've seen people argue and say some mean shit, recasters are sexist, or this and that, or la-da-da. No, it is that I wanted to watch Black Panther 2. I didn't want to watch Ryan and friends are emotionally grieving their dead friend on screen.
Yeah.
And that's what I watched.
And it just
so kind of go fuck yourself, because you subjected me and forced me to go through what you were going through.
Yeah. And it just wasn't one thing. It was like, it wasn't just those 2 minutes and 30 seconds, guys. It was like literally shoved in your face any second they got a chance to be like, here you
Dude,
go.
my dad asked me that. He goes, this over this Thanksgiving, because he hasn't seen Wakanda forever, right? And he asked me, he was like, so they killed him off in the film, right? And I said, yeah. Like, right away. And he was like, oh, so they just like real quick and then moved past it? And I said, no, you're going to go to his funeral. He goes, what? I said, you're going to spend 20 minutes
at his funeral.
You're going to see his coffin raise up.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked obituaries weren't passed out before the film. They were passing out posters. I was expecting them to pass out fucking obituaries.
No, I told my dad that, and he started laughing. He was like, are you serious? And then I was like, oh yeah, then guess what? Then you're going to go to his mom's funeral. And he goes, dude, are you fucking... This sounds wild. Like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
For everyone, for the people in my family that saw it, they were like, it was such a great movie, and did you just love it? And I'm like, what was great about that movie? Well, they just really honored Chadwick. How? And what does that have to do with T'Challa?
Until you break it down to the average fan, they don't get it.
Yeah.
Because they think that they're just viewing something that is honorable to Chad. But when you look at, and again, you're looking at it at face value is what they're doing. But when you really dig deep into the meat and potatoes of what the fuck is going on in Wakanda Forever and what the fuck they put on the screen, it's not
it.
You know, I typed in Recast T'Challa on my Facebook page in the search bar because I wanted to see if I could find Charlemagne's post. I wanted to see if he posted on Facebook so I could just reshare it. I didn't want to upload its own picture, you know, all that kind of, I wanted to share it. And when I posted it, you know, it'll bring up all of your friends and even their people you're not friends with, but just because you have a mutual friend with that, it'll show all of it was showing me everybody's post from Wakanda Forever. The amount of people that dressed up. Let me put this into perspective, bro, because I don't think you get it. You paid for a funeral for someone you don't know.
Right.
Not only that, you participated in how morbid it was, and you dressed up. That's number 2. Then number 3, you took celebratory pictures with the Wakanda Forever sign or the Wakanda Forever sign and all this kind of stuff outside the theater, and then you captioned it, wrapped it with a beautiful bow, saying how it was beautiful. To put into perspective, again, you paid for a digitized funeral, and then to make matters worse, you were so sick that you dressed up for it.
Yeah.
That will never not be weird to me, bro. It will never not be weird that you dressed up for a funeral for a man you did not know and you paid for it. That's wild.
Right.
That is wild.
Well, and there's also, so there's some heartfelt shit, right? When you're a creator, you can do things, right? Like, say you have a friend that passes away and you write books for a living or something, right? You can have that silent nod, right? Where you can say, oh yeah, y'all won't know this, but I wrote this little side interaction here. That's my friend. You know what I'm saying? That one's to honor my friend.
Right.
None of y'all will know, but it's watermarked in I wanted to do it to honor my friend. It's something for me, right? Mm-hmm. It's for me and for that friend.
Like Avatar. The Iroh singing. That's an actual real dedication.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's as simple as, you know, Stephen King does that shit a lot, right? Where it's like, oh, this is a moment from this and this from that, and you'll never, because you don't need to know,
right?
And that is the why I'm bringing all this up. You don't need to know. Did you enjoy my book? Cool. I wrote my friend in it. You wouldn't know. You'd never know. But that was to honor him. That was the point of what I did. Yeah. Or I will bring him up in every one of my books, and you will never realize I'm doing it, right? You can do that, but when you go, oh no, hey, this 4-book, you know, with fucking Harry Potter, right? These 4 books you've read, the 5th one, going off the fucking rails, it's all about my friend dying.
Yeah.
Versus her writing in one wizard girl whose name is the name of her friend, right? Who Harry bumps into for 10 seconds and it never matters, but my friend's in my book. I immortalized my friend in my series and you don't even know I did it.
Right.
That is called dedicate. That is honoring someone. That is preserving someone's legacy in your mind for you. Whereas, no, I'm tanking everything because my friend died and I'm upset. You might want to do that. You know, in the short time in their passing, you might be like, fuck everything. You know, this person died. You might get that emotional. But these people had the money, and they had the control. And this is what we got.
And I just think it's weird. It's so weird. I would understand if they did, like, the moment of silence at the end. You know what I mean? But it was the fact that they started with it, and then they started with it, and then they began with it, and then they put it in the middle, and then the end, and you're just like, this is so much.
No,
the only credit I will give them is, and this is the only time I'll say this again, but this is the only credit I will ever give them, and I think I said this during the initial review, is the opening. Not the opening scene. Not that disgusting shit.
But the opening.
The Marvel logo.
Yes.
Where I guess people were saying that there was wind, you could hear the wind or whatever. I don't know. But where there was no Marvel music, and it was just a montage of Chadwick as T'Challa as his time as T'Challa in the MCU. That was honor.
I could have even accepted at the end of the movie. Movie's over.
Let's
Like
have a moment of silence.
a mid-credits cutscene.
Yeah.
Then you can do the showing Chadwick's face like they did in the at one point in the movie, right? And then at the end it says, "To honor our friend, long live Lord." Long live Chadwick, long live T'Challa. That's fine. Like, I'm not saying you can't express your sadness,
But to put it in a movie,
make it the whole movie
concept,
like
is weird.
To make it the whole movie, to divert from what you originally established in the first movie, to have all this Black Death that everyone's finding so enjoyable, to have us focused on Chadwick's actual death for the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the film, to have so much emphasis put on the casket and having Shuri having to be pulled off of it, then to turn around and have Ramonda killed, then to turn around and hear Riri say, "Well, my dad's dead," then to turn around and have Wakanda completely again, it's a never watch again.
Yeah.
It's a never watch again.
Sad Wakanda.
Then he went on to say, "Thank you for opening yourself up to our emotional journey on this film."
I didn't have a choice.
That is manipulative.
I didn't have a choice.
So,
What are you talking about?
I actually want to address this because there's something very manipulative.
Didn't have a choice
in the anti-recast movements, right? That again, you give your opinion. It is you are disrespecting a dead man with a legacy.
How?
You disagree. It is you just don't want to see a woman lead Wakanda. You disagree. It is you just don't want to see black people displayed on screen. But what it actually is we were hijacked. It says you opened yourself up to the emotional journey that we went through. That's not fair. It's manipulative. It is divisive. It is tricking people. He says here, seeing with your friend, enjoyed it in a theatrical setting with friends, family, and strangers.
Oh, hold on, because I'm going to get to all that stuff.
Okay, but yeah, it's just like, it's very... The conversation is now divisive because everyone's seen it, and they act like if you have complaints, then they have the moral high ground because we're on the side of the friends of the dead guy.
Yeah.
You're an asshole. Yep. That was their friend.
Yep.
And that's not the argument at play. But again, they don't even want to listen to it because it's become such a divisive thing that's literally the point. You say anything about it is you're the asshole. That's their friend. You don't know. You're disrespecting a dead guy. And that's not the case, but that's what they want you to hear.
But that was the whole point of Wakanda Forever. That's what they want you to feel too. We've talked about this. Why do you think, not you guys, but just in general, why do you think Dr. Doom was removed? I don't care if Nate Moore got out here and lied through his fucking teeth. I don't care about him getting out here talking about Dr. Doom was never in the film. Nigga, kick rocks.
Because he was.
Don't lie to... Again, don't insult my intelligence. We've seen the previous photos. We saw what was supposed to be for this film. Dr. Doom was always in this film. Dr. Doom was removed from this film for the reason that you just said there. So that you could feel, so we could go on an emotional journey with you that was forced on us. And like you said, we didn't have a choice to participate in one way or another. We didn't have a choice if we were going to participate in Wakanda Forever, or we didn't have a choice whether, because you have a choice whether or not to participate, but we didn't have a choice in whether or not the story that you were telling. The story that you were telling, we didn't have a choice in say. We didn't have a say in the matter. So to have him, like you just said, to have him come out and say, "Thank you for opening up yourself on this emotional journey of this film," that's what you were going to do in the beginning.
Yeah, like we didn't have a choice. Sir.
Then he said, "We made something to honor our friend who was a giant in our industry, and we also made something to be enjoyed in the theatrical setting with friends, family, and strangers."
I did not enjoy that. I did not enjoy that, Mr. Coogler. That was not something I enjoyed.
No.
No.
When he said we made a film who was to honor our friend who was a giant in our industry. I mean no disrespect. And I don't even know if I need to even say that anymore, because unless you're new here, you should know my admiration for Chadwick Boseman. But outside, let me put it this way, because Chadwick Boseman did not become a household name until Black Panther. That's just real. I mean, yes, he played Jackie. Yes, he played Thurgood. Yes, he played James Brown.
I
But
learned about his body of work after.
Yes, I literally had. I think we even had somebody in the chat a few weeks ago that said I didn't know anything about him. I didn't. No. Somebody even said I didn't even know that was him in 42.
I'll be real honest. I did not know who he was until Black Panther.
There's two.
I have,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. That's the thing. Well, it wasn't Black Panther. It was just his appearance in Marvel, right? And then from that point, you look up who an actor is, and you can see their previous work and watch previous work. But that's what really turned me on to the dude and put it on my radar. And no, there is no shame in that, because that's how you learn who. You know what I'm saying? Everyone finds someone a certain way. It's just like.
Yeah, I mean no disrespect to
Chadwick when I say that. Again, and everybody should know that I adore Chadwick Boseman, outside of his role of T'Challa. But
to say that we are honoring a friend who was a giant in our industry, and we also made something to be enjoyed in the theatrical setting with friends, family, and
strangers. I was uncomfortable with friends, family, and strangers.
I was very uncomfortable.
I've said this.
I probably saw you more emotional than you wanted me to see you.
Yeah, I hated getting on here and crying.
No, I'm saying in the theater.
Oh yeah, that too. I hated getting on here and crying. I did. That's not something I wanted to do. But I've said this. If you weren't, because I was like this the whole time. I kept moving. I kept readjusting my hood. I kept, sitting down, letting big puffs out in size because it was uncomfortable. So I felt uncomfortable with strangers, friends, and family.
I felt really tense. I was sitting next to Kellen, and I was just thinking to myself, like, don't cry, like don't, just watch the movie, because
it was tough.
It's tough, like, you know what I mean?
Kellen and I went into immediately trying to make jokes to.
Yeah, kind of like
get because it didn't suck us in as much, and then y'all. I'm sure everyone heard me for the rest of the movie. Anytime Namor shit happened, I'd be like, "Hey," and then that was it.
Yeah, like I just felt really, really tense, and I felt like I couldn't move. Like I literally felt like I was stuck. Like I was entrapped into this world, and I couldn't get out of it. And every time I thought something was okay, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I just honestly, that was the first Marvel movie I watched, and I was like, I want this to end. Like I needed this to end.
And I want to bring up, if I can, there's
this that shit on the timeline.
Huh?
I said they're putting that shit on the timeline.
Yeah. There's a comment that Ashra said here that's he said, I find it funny we didn't hear about the movie being review bombed since it was a slow burn and very divisive. So that's a thing. There's a lot of casual Marvel fans, and I would even go to far as say there's a lot of white casual Marvel fans who they're not going to go against what the black community says. They're not going to.
Yeah.
They think that disagreeing with something equals racism, and that's not the case. Like, how many people, when you were trying to interview people at the movie, you'd go up and say, hey, we're part of a channel. Like, okay, cool. Can I ask you some questions? Cool. We're going to ask you about them not recasting T'Challa. Nope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't even touch on wouldn't even speak about it. And I think there is a lot of that, like, we're not going to comment on black culture. We're not going to criticize black culture. I think they're equating a movie like this to black culture. I mean, I could be wrong.
No, I feel you.
But I think there's a lot of white people who think the easiest thing to do is to get out of the way of traffic.
That pisses me off because it's like, oh, I don't want to comment on it.
Right, well, that's like me.
But I sure am about to pay to watch it.
Yeah.
I sure am about to pay to watch your tropes within your community. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna speak on why T'Challa should or should not be recast. But I'm about to go pay and I'm about to enjoy the Black Death and everything, all the tropes that I'm seeing within this film.
Because I promise you, they're sitting in that theater going, "There's a black person. Are they enjoying it? Should I be enjoying? Is this what y'all enjoy? Should I enjoy this too?"
I mean, I'm pretty sure there was.
I mean, there's a lot of that where these people, again, just trying to get out. They don't want to piss off black people by giving their opinion. But I'm gonna be real honest with you here. I can sit here and tell you, hey, that movie fucking sucked. I don't have any issue with people of color. You know what I'm saying? Like those two things are not mutually exclusive. They're different conversations. I don't care if it's Black Panther 1. If I didn't fucking like the movie, I didn't fucking like the movie, and I did. but I'm just saying.
Right.
That has nothing to do with my opinion on someone's skin color.
Right. That has nothing to do with how you feel about.
I promise you, there's a ton of these people. I used to call it the old lady thing, where they're like, oh, the blacks got that movie. That's that's their movie with all their cast and their writers. They can have that. It got $1 billion. Good job. Now I feel like it's kind of the same way, where they're sitting there and they're like, y'all think this is? Oh, so this is good. You're telling me this is your culture, and it's like, no, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they look at it and they go, well, there's black women that are in charge, and then there's still an all-black cast, and then now we have this whole underwater community that's led by a Latin man, so, like, of course, yay! Good job! Good job! Everyone did great. This was a fantastic movie, and it honored him so well.
That is another thing I will say, too. Because it's even more divisive whenever you bring up that a very popular black male lead man actor
That's
died.
why I said what I said.
Yeah, there's a lot of these casual white fans that are like,
Motherfuckers can't name shit Chadwick has done outside of
I
BB.
get that, but it's not so much that they care about him so much, it's that they're not trying to piss off the black
But see,
community.
then, but again, that
will.
And I
Not that it will.
I hear you. I hear you because you're making points. But what they don't know is, in doing that, if that's their MO, you are still pissing off the black community because you're making it seem like Chadwick is the only one we have. We have a plethora of black young actors, male actors who would jump at the opportunity to portray the most successful black male superhero in media, period.
Oh, well, let's also get to the heart of the matter on that one. I have an issue with I'll just say this clear as day, if you're a white person and you feel like you can't have a disagreeing conversation with a person of color, like, maybe that says more about you than anything else. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
if you can't
I can sit here, we can go back and forth on things that we like and don't like all fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't bleed over. Like, I'm sorry, but if melanin is your barrier, where you're like, oh, I'm not gonna have it, like, that says more to me. You. Why are you so tiptoey? You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what you look like. Again, if I don't like something, I don't fucking like it, right? And we can have that
point
talk.
Blank period.
What bothers me and why I'm bringing this up is because how many people sat there in that theater and were like, fuck, there's a lot of fucking black people dying in this movie, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But you know what? In the same thing, do you really think people thought that? Do you really think that the overall general white audience cared? And I'm not even talking white audience. I'm talking our brainwashed black audience too.
Well,
do you really think they cared?
My dad did make a comment about that because I was like, there was a lot of black death in that movie, and my dad's response was, well, what? It's like a all black cast. Anyone dies, it's going to be someone who's black. Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was like very personal, very emotional, very forefronted.
I think that a lot of white folks, whenever, when you're using that conversation, black death is normal for them.
Yeah,
they see it on the news. So
it's what happens in every black person in every movie.
Right. So I don't think that. I don't know if they sat down and were like, oh man, this is a lot of black death. I thought they sat down, man, this is another Tuesday. This is another Tuesday, just another Marvel film. Like,
I'm pretty sure they sat there and they're like, so he's not coming back? Like, just confused as shit. Like,
and the last part here that he said, to touch on, he said, something to be quoted and discussed.
Nothing in that movie was quotable.
Nothing.
Nothing in that movie was quotable. Nothing in that movie.
Nothing was. And then he goes. Then he said, to be debated, something to make people both physically and emotionally feel seen. This medium wouldn't exist without an audience, and I thank you for giving me professional purpose and an emotional outlet. That's where I wanted to go.
Yes.
That's where I wanted to go.
That's the last part I wanted to touch on, because that's where he closes it, where he closes it saying, I look forward to bring... Oh, no, I'm sorry, this part too. I look forward to bringing you more stories in the future. Okay.
I have two things here.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, thank you for giving me a professional purpose and an emotional outlet.
Film is art. It is art. It is a way for directors or writers or anyone involved to be able to express themselves. However, as I said last week, if you needed an emotional outlet, I'm talking about the audience. Him too. If he needed an emotional outlet, he should have just set this one the fuck out.
Yeah.
You should have taken the vacation he said in his interview a few weeks ago that he was going to take with his family and some rest. You should have taken that rest because obviously the 2 years to cope through Chadwick's death obviously hasn't been enough for you, and rightfully so. That's your friend.
Yeah. So you can break shit.
Yeah, if you felt that you couldn't do this film because you were still emotionally connected to everything that happened with Chadwick, and again, rightfully so, you have every right to be, but do that
on your time.
Away from the franchise.
Do that on your
No
time.
disrespect. I mean no disrespect.
But I mean what I say. Take that emotion, take what you're feeling, take that outlet that you just poured all of your grief and everything, and you made us morbidly view that shit for viewers. Take that, take it somewhere else.
That's fine. But when he said for the emotional outlet, I
to get back to that point, what I was saying was,
as I said last week,
if viewers needed an emotional outlet for anything like that, you want to know about grief in the black community, since everybody seems to automatically somehow be so fascinated with grief in the black community. Where were y'all? Never mind. But if you care that much about black grief,
the Emmett Till movie is out.
And that's pretty...
I believe it's still in theaters.
It is.
And if not, if you don't want to spend the money on it, you can watch the Emmett Till story that's being told on Hulu. Because I'm sure
everybody's got Hulu accounts. So when it comes to that Emmett Till story, you want black grief? You want to know what we go through in our community? Go watch that little boy get drug out his bed over a whistle he didn't do.
Not a Marvel movie.
Go watch that little boy get tortured by the 3 white men that were so upset because he whistled at that man's wife.
But not a Marvel movie.
Go watch them torture that boy, cut off his penis, and do everything else that they did to him, shoot him through the head, and leave him to rot in the fucking river. You want grief? You want to know what black grief looks like? Go watch Mamie Till. Go watch his mother. Go watch his mother make the decision, no, I'm not closing the casket. I'm leaving it open so they can see what they did to my baby. You want to see black grief? It ain't in a goddamn Marvel film. It's in our real life shit. And when I sit down, as I've said, it ain't to watch my black stories from my community told for viewers' goddamn entertainment. So you can take that emotional outlet shit and you can shove it so far up your ass because I'm not there for that. You shouldn't have been there for that. As a director, you should have stepped away. But again, the Emmett Till film it's in theaters. So for anybody that might be watching this in a replay, watching it right now, or whatever, if you feel so inclined to be fascinated with Black Death, go watch that film. That'll give you all the black grief and black death that you're needing. That should give you your shit until the end of the year.
Wakanda Forever? That ain't it.
And then the last part here where he said, I look forward to bringing you more stories in the future.
Please don't.
Sir?
Please don't.
Sir?
Please don't.
I don't want to see Ryan Coogler's name on a spinoff. I don't want to see Ryan Coogler, and I'll show that too. I don't want to see Ryan Coogler's name on this shit. So when he says he looks forward to coming back in the future, he wants to do this and looks forward to giving us more BP content. Get your nigga. Hold on.
Get your ass up out of here.
Hold on. I want to make sure I pull this correctly.
I said, get your ass up out of here.
I only laugh because you do not use that word lightly.
Because the things that he says, it does not make sense, bro. Like, what are you talking
It
about?
just makes me fucking laugh. You get fucking irritated. Oh,
2026. Here we go.
Oh no.
Breaking multiple potential Marvel phase 5, 6, and 7 possible unannounced projects with all date of release has been revealed. So let me show this. It's 2026.
We've got down here at the bottom of the after November 2026. It looks like we're going to get a BP3. Obviously, we're going to get some Wakanda series with, I'm sure, Ryan Coogler's name tagged to that.
They're waiting until fucking 2027 to touch Black Knight? Holy shit, get on the ball. Sorry,
If these things are to be believed, yes.
They need to get on the fucking ball with that shit.
Now, here's the thing
with Black Panther 3. As I just said, what he just said, looking forward to a future of touching, no. In 2026, is it unrealistic to say, or to, it's not unrealistic now, but, you know, to the anti-recasters, is it unrealistic for us to want to see T'Challa in BP3.
What is this? What year is this?
2026. 2026.
Which is technically...
four...
Well, technically
I'm
that's
terrible.
3 years from now.
Technically.
Because we're going into 2023 here in about a month.
We fucking are. Time
So
is just
yeah,
flying
that's
by.
about 3 years. So I mean,
So I think we're good.
yeah.
I don't know. There's gonna be some young people who are like Chadwick who at that point. Like, I'm sorry, the way fads
That's what
and
I'm saying,
celebrities go
like-
through. I mean, and that ain't no disrespect to him.
That's not.
There are gonna be
But
some. There are gonna be
here's the
some young
thing.
people who are like Chadwick. Oh yeah, that guy that played T'Challa that time.
Do you know how many movies I have watched that were like either late 90s and then they came out with another movie in the early 2000s and it wasn't the same character and I was like, oh wait, that's weird. Why is this not the same character? And I looked it up and they died and then they recast it. I was like, well, that makes sense.
You know what? Or you can
Well,
be a
that
fucking
makes
adult
sense.
and literally, yeah, and just
like
be
that
like,
makes sense. Okay, like obviously something happened. You didn't get along with production. You're obviously not around. Something happened to
Right.
where you're not available anymore. So it makes sense for the character and for the story to move on to recast you. So yeah, I really think by 2026, a lot of people are probably gonna be like Chadwick.
no, I feel like they could have done it now. just
No, they
my
could have.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
They could
I'm
have.
sorry, but there are. Don't get me wrong. There's
Yeah.
some people who could have been like,
No.
it wasn't the same after Chadwick's passing.
And I understand
And that's
that.
a fair argument you
That's
can
a
make,
fair
right?
argument.
No, that's
but for
fair.
the rest of us,
That's fair.
for the rest of us, we're still trucking along. With
That's what I'm saying.
I mean-
When I first saw recast T'Challa, instantly I was
Hey,
like, that makes
Gray
sense.
makes the best point. Did y'all ever see the series Spartacus?
Yes, that's what I was trying to think of.
Literally
Spartacus.
fucking
Yes.
Spartacus, bro.
Yes, that's what I was trying to think of. But yeah, it makes sense because the storyline still has to go on.
Gray,
The
that series
story
was
still
dirty.
has to go on. And then when you told me like, oh, well, he doesn't ever die, I was like, well, shit, that makes even more sense. That makes even more sense. Why are we killing a character that is not dead?
Yeah, I just again with Ryan, I do. I always make sure I say this because I do. A real man is grieving the loss of someone real.
Yes.
You know, it's
I'm
you
not
know.
taking that away from
Again, that's why I'm. Again, that's why I got up here in our review and I cried because I'm still grieving the real life loss of one of my basketball players. So I am in no position. None of us are in any position to tell the man when to get over the grief.
No.
But I can tell you where to get over it.
And you know, with people saying, "Oh, he might be the one to direct Secret Wars,"
Please.
for everyone that's out there saying T'Challa's coming back in Secret Wars, I don't know that for sure, with or without Coogler. But with Coogler, no.
TJ.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's I don't fucking know. I don't know. With Coogler though,
You don't see it happening?
I don't see it happening.
Do you truly believe like he just killed the
I-
franchise?
I'm gonna be honest with you, as I've said. Until Marvel gives me some type of inkling, because the things since Wakanda Forever, the things even Kevin Feige, I know we all got excited. Hell, I got excited because I remember I called my producer Henry. I was super excited when Kevin Feige said we just felt it was too soon. Fuck that. They didn't. That was to dumb us down. That was to quiet us.
Yeah.
They're too loud. We need to hush them down a little bit with some fake good news.
Yeah.
Marvel has given me no inclination that this man, T'Challa, is coming back. None. I know everybody wants to be hopeful, and
I mean, no, I'm right there with you. I think after
I'm not
this
hopeful.
movie, I think they like officially just killed him off. They cut him off. There's gonna be no more T'Challa.
yeah, I don't think so.
I don't see it being.
I know
a
everybody
thing.
keeps saying, just wait. Like, yeah, and again, I've said this before for the people saying, wait till Secret Wars. What do you mean? He's going to be back. He's going to be back for... Since you work for Marvel, please tell me when Marvel has given any type of sign that T'Challa's coming back. They haven't.
Yeah, and until they do, I'm just not believing it. No, I definitely agree with you on that. I think I don't see them bringing back T'Challa. I see them bringing back, Shuri or TJ, maybe even good old Winston Duke, but I do not see like T'Challa coming.
He's not. I'm sorry to bust. I'm sorry if that's like
T'Challa.
raining on parades, but I don't see it. and maybe my tone and the conversation or tone toward this conversation will change if they show me some type of anything that the man's coming back.
Anytime this is it. This is all I have with T'Challa.
My comics, reading books, and
that's it.
That's it. That's
And a
it.
couple
And the one
cameos
movie.
in one movie.
Yeah, in the one movie and the cameos that I can go watch. Yeah, that's literally why I watched. I watched Civil War last night for T'Challa. That's why I watched it. Because I had been wanting to watch it. I had been wanting to see him in those scenes, and that's the only way you can see them. That's the only. Every time he bought, and this is the last thing I'm saying before I close this topic. Every time he walked on screen last night, I was just like.
But I also kept imagining
Other actors. This is something I asked myself last night. I was like, I wonder what Damson thinks. I wonder what John David Washington thinks. I wonder what Yolande thinks. I wonder what they all think. You know, what Aldous Hodges thinks. What do they all think when it comes to this conversation? Because I know they're not blind to it.
I mean, hell, you have celebrities that are, after seeing Wakanda Forever, that are like, what the fuck is going on? Like Charlemagne the God.
Yes.
I don't always agree with Charlemagne.
But I give respect to him because he just like you, he gives his opinion and doesn't care if you like it or not.
Yeah.
And he's been on the recast train. Even before the film came out, Charlemagne was on the why is he not in this film? But he posted on his Instagram and said, so has enough time passed? Can we talk about spoilers? You know, I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but can we talk about spoilers? Because I almost posted that same thing on my Snapchat story last night. I was gonna put on there. Is 2 weeks long enough? Can we be real about Wakanda Forever now?
Yeah, can we like?
Do y'all really want to talk about it now?
Get into the nitty gritty of this?
Yeah,
like your feelings, whatever you felt coming out, the shock of how good it was to you. Do you want to be real now? And I was just gonna share the scene of him saying, where he said, "I'm Clint. I don't care. Move, Captain. I won't act like."
Do we really want to have the conversation about why this character was missed? Let's. But I was asking myself too. I wonder what Damson and them think about this conversation because I'm sure they've seen it. I wonder what Damson thinks about, you know, the conversation around there's not an actor that could come in and do that spot. Because again, the reason I wonder what Damson and them think about that because it goes back in this. I promise you, this is the last thing I'm saying. It goes back to what Chad has said before. It pins us against one another. It's debilitating and it's frightening. I wonder how debilitated these other actors feel, hearing that no one can step into that role.
I was about to say, it probably felt, in a way, just disrespectful and degrading.
Yeah, disrespected. How disrespected they feel. What did he say? How pinned against one another they feel.
Yeah. No other black actor can do what this black actor did, so it's limiting, it's divisive,
it's terrible.
It's gaslighting too, because again, you feel like you're trying to. It's like you said, you're trying to go against Chadwick. Like you have to. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm disrespecting him taking this role. And it's like you're respecting his legacy.
And I bet,
and you're doing exactly what the man wants.
I bet there were so many other actors too who probably didn't feel they could come out publicly without offending people to be like, I think I would be great for this role. I bet there was a lot of black male actors that was like, hello, I can do this. If you gave me the opportunity, I can do this. I can deliver what he delivered and still have that representation and still have that impact.
And none of them would have looked at
the role as being disrespectful. I'm being disrespectful to Chad. And none of them would have been like, oh, I don't want that role because...
Again, you just can't, bro. You just can't tell me that. I'm sorry.
And that's all I'm saying on it. But
You can't tell me that a Damson Idris or a John David Washington or Aldous Hodges, Yolande Noel, we know the names, wouldn't say. I mean, you already got one that said, okay, all you got to do is reach out to my agent. Yolande Noel's already said that. So, the fact that Marvel, Nate Moore, whoever the fuck is making the decisions over there like this, saying that, you know, another actor can't do that. You got Ryan Coogler saying the things he said in here. You got Nate Moore, I'm sure, going to say some more lies tomorrow, the next day, and whatever on. You're all full of shit.
This movie's full of shit. These topics are surrounded by shit. I feel like just to get to the overall point, I not only that, the anti-recasters and everybody out there defending a franchise that you found out about in 2018, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. Like all of you. You're all full of shit. It's crazy to me. So, as a BP fan, a fan since before 2018, a fan before Chadwick's iteration transcended any iteration,
I've been here. There are people, again, like I've said, that are 50 plus years or whatever older than me, that have been waiting to see this character for 50 plus years put on the screen. They've been here. Are they going to be here in 2026 to see the character that you've taken away, that they've been waiting since my age, below my age? That grew up during the Civil Rights Movement. But it was the height of the Civil Rights Movement that this character was created. The height of the Civil Rights Movement that this character was created. And for us, and I know some people are probably thinking, oh, guys, that was so long ago. No, it wasn't that long ago. But this is a character that we need to be seeing on screen. This is a character they need to put on screen, and every other box that it checks. So, nah. I personally will never and can never get behind the ignorance when it comes to this conversation. But anything else? Final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
And that is, like I said, that's my thoughts on it. That's their thoughts on it. But as always,
Question is for you guys. Let us know down below in the comments what you're thinking of
Ryan Coogler's message to Marvel fans about, in the last part, long live T'Challa. That's the last thing he said there.
Long live T'Challa. And this is all I am showing before I close this for real, because I meant to show this. This meme is perfect. Marvel Studios, T'Challa, aka Black Panther. They shoot. Then turn around and look at the screen and say, long live T'Challa,
Wakanda forever.
Mm-hmm.
Long live the king, Wakanda forever.
That's the vibe you're giving off here, is that you're saying, again,
That's why I think it's bullshit. That's why I think it's bullshit. Long live T'Challa, but you killed T'Challa.
But you killed T'Challa.
Yeah, okay.
No more T'Challa.
Yeah, okay. So let us know down below in the comments what you guys are
thinking about Coogler and his message to Marvel fans, and how it is
long live T'Challa, and how it is
and how he's thanking us for letting him emotionally have this outlet. And how did you feel emotionally during this film?